Opportunity Calls with Ellen Volpe is sponsored by LongIsland.com.
I'm joined today by psychotherapist and meditation instructor, Jennifer Shapiro-Lee. Thank you for joining me, Jennifer.
Thanks, Ellen. I'm excited to be here.
You've left a very successful career in fashion to enter the field of mental health. Your training is incredibly extensive and covers so many areas of specialization. When I looked at that, I was just amazed at the depth at which you have decided to study this particular area. Your level of education is so impressive. It's really remarkable. And I'm just so curious as to why you made the shift and how that happened.
So I was working in the fashion industry. I was an account executive, and I actually had worked really hard in that industry to work my way up to the point where I generated a $10 million business and had a team underneath me. Mm-hmm. And my career was really going in the direction that I could have dreamed of at that point. And then in 2005, I experienced a life-changing event. Mm-hmm. My father actually passed away from suicide, and it completely changed my entire world. My father was a successful hospital CEO. He never told anyone he was struggling or suffering. I had never seen my father depressed. I mean, not a day in my life. And I found out after he passed that he went to an outside community to get medication for depression under an alias name, because he didn't want anyone in the community to know that he was suffering because of his role and status as a CEO of a hospital system. So I think he, from what I understood after the fact, he felt like being at the top of that, where do you go for help when everyone in the system knows you? So from there, it was interesting because I always knew I wanted to be in two professions. I always knew I wanted to be a therapist and in fashion. And when my father was alive, I had applied to school to be a therapist, and I didn't go. I just was like, I have this amazing career. Why would I leave it? So I decided, let me just put that away and not think about that again, even though I always knew that I just was really meant to help other people. And I loved listening to people's stories, and I'd always been really open-minded and non-judgmental. But it almost as sad as the experience and horrible as it was almost like my why found me. And then 3 years after my father had passed, I applied to grad school, and I completely changed my whole life and went to Columbia University School of Social Work. Was it
a difficult decision to make the change?
Yeah, no, I mean, actually, I would say it was the hardest decision I'd made in my life up to that, at that age, up to that point. It was, a really tough decision. I mean, I'd worked to really get where I was. And, I would say something amazing about my father is what he always taught me is really to work hard in life and go after what you want. Mm-hmm. And I had that. And then it was an extremely hard decision. My life could have gone down two completely different paths. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if my father hadn't passed, would I have made that choice now? But I'm really happy I did. I love what I do as a therapist. It's a very rewarding profession. And, I've never really looked back. I mean, I'm just really happy in my field.
A question that I have for you is, given the difficult impact of COVID, that people have been called upon to find strength during these really unprecedented times. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering how you're finding people handling the demands of work, of life, of parenting. What have you been observing? It to me seems really overwhelming.
It is very overwhelming. It's a very stressful time for people. And I'm seeing, it's really hitting everyone, everywhere. I mean, all over the world, really. In my practice, it's interesting. I mean, not interesting, it's hard. People are struggling. People that went off medication are, possibly going back on. There's people who've never dealt with anxiety and now seem to have anxiety at times, or stress. I mean, obviously everyone has stress, but, I've seen people who said, I never had depression and now I'm depressed, or, so it's really affecting everyone. The uncertainty, people really like to have answers on what's going to happen. And, this uncertainty out there is really hard for people, just not knowing exactly when this is going to end. I would say that's what I get the most of, people saying, but I don't know when this is going to end. If I had an end date, I could make sense of it.
Now that there's a vision for vaccine, do you think that that in and of itself is going to give people more hope, more hopefulness than they've had?
I do think that brings on more hope. I mean, now when we went into quarantine in March, we had no idea what was going on. I mean, there was not much hope then because people were so confused. And I think going, into the winter months, it's already hard enough sometimes in the winter, knowing that there's a vaccine around the corner. I do believe that brings hope to people, because then at least, there's some end in sight. It doesn't feel so far out of reach like it did initially.
I'd like to talk about mindfulness because as one of the things that you've studied, yet another thing, I know that you're certified in this area, and it's a word that's been showing up. It creates bright spots for people, for those who embrace it. For those who are just wondering about what does it all mean, and those that are actually committed to it. I'm wondering if you could speak to the benefits of embracing it.
Mindfulness really means being present in the moment with what you're doing. So much of life, right? We drive somewhere and we don't even really see the nature around us, or, we're with family members and in our minds, maybe we're thinking of something else. And, things just kind of pass us by. It's sometimes really hard to be present in the moment. We're either worrying about the future, lots of times about things that don't even happen, or we're focused on things in the past. And being mindfulness is really trying to, train your mind to be in the here and now. And the reason why I ended up going to get trained in mindfulness and being a certified meditation teacher is because I saw so many people in my practice, dealing with anxiety and worry. And the research kept showing that mindfulness and meditation are really good for worry, anxiety, people's well-being. I mean, the health benefits are really endless. Basically, anything you can get out of physical working out, you can get from meditation and mindfulness, except for obviously changing, the way you look with your body. But, everything as far as better immune system, overall happiness, better well-being. If they actually put two people in an MRI machine, one who meditates and one who doesn't, they see a difference in the structure of their brain with less stress than the person who's a consistent meditator.
So when I think of mindfulness and I think of this time of year, it's Thanksgiving. We're all talking about gratitude. I guess looking for your opinion, that gratitude probably has the same impact on our psyche as the mindfulness. Are they interchangeable in terms of their impact?
Yeah, I mean, the research also shows that if one were to practice gratitude, that they would have better overall well-being and just increase happiness. So I actually recommend to my clients to have a gratitude list, especially like maybe on their phone where they can go see it when they're feeling down and, struggling. And, some people even do gratitude list every morning, like just to get up and think of like 3 things you're grateful for. It's a great way to start the day.
Thanks for joining me today, Jennifer. I wish you a safe and healthy holiday season.
Thank you for having me on. I hope you have an amazing holiday season as well.
Opportunity Calls with Ellen Volpe is sponsored by LongIsland.com. American Business Associates is New York Metro's premier business development and networking association. To learn more about ABA, visit aba-ny.com.